Don't expect a meaningful bump in your Social Security check in 2026 because the cost of living adjustment will be gutted by skyrocketing Medicare B premiums. I got to spit that out, don't I? But this isn't all about negative or about talking about why we are not going to be able to live or survive on Social Security because there's a lot of folks out there, 6 out of 10 people completely rely on Social Security to make ends meet and to pay their bills. So I'm going to say this. If you rely on Social Security, yeah, this is not good news. This cost of living adjustment is going to be gutted. But stay around to the end of the video or towards the end of the video because I'm going to tell you how how we can overcome this, once again, this ridiculous news. Hi, my name is Lou Reyes, and this is Over 50 TV, where we show you how to earn more so you can retire smarter. And I say smarter, I really mean retire more comfortably. And I want to thank you. First, I do want to thank you for joining me here today. I'm going to give you what I know to be the latest Social Security update, and that's as of this morning. So we're gonna talk about Social Security. We're going to talk about Medicare. But I want to start this. I want to start this way. I want to start by reminding you that in June, we learned that Medicare Part B premiums are projected to jump by 11.6% in 2026. And we learned this way back in June, but what we didn't know back then is we didn't know what the COLA would be. So I believe a lot of us, and that includes me, we were thinking, well, you know what, okay, Medicare is going to jump. Medicare B premiums are going to jump by 11%, 11.6%. But you know what? Maybe our COLA will go up, and I think we're living in, at least I was living in a dream world. I'll speak for myself. But that increase in Medicare B is nearly twice what last year's increase was. So I was surprised when I saw that report back in June, because that takes Medicare's monthly premium from roughly mine. I think it was like 187 or something like that. But it takes the average Medicare premium to from $185, it takes it up to $206.50 in 2026. And it's really the biggest dollar jump since 2022. And I'm reminding you of this increase because of how it affects the 2026 COLA, which as of today, at least as of this morning, from what I heard, it's projected still to be around 2.7%. The cost of living adjustment. Some analysts are saying it could be 2.8%. If we're living in a dream world, maybe we're thinking, or love to see it at a lot higher than that, obviously. But this means essentially that the cost of living adjustment will barely increase your Social Security check, your 2026 Social Security check. And I want to explain this in a little bit detail because I think this really helps for us to understand. Now, if we just take the average Social Security check, let's say in July of 2025, in July, that average check, from what we know, from what data shows, was $2,006. Now, the new cost of living adjustment, without this Medicare increase, without this big Medicare increase, would work out, we would be getting a $54.18 increase in our check. And I know there's a lot of folks out there, and I got some real blowback from some of my viewers here at Over 50 TV who said, when I said, well, that's a ridiculous, number, some folks said, well, Lou, that'll pay for groceries and gas and whatever. And I think what they're doing is they're setting their sights, they're too low. They're not looking at what they should get or what they deserve, but they're saying, okay, well, I'm getting this, and I guess I could be okay with it. I'm okay with getting a little, and I'm not okay with asking for more. And that's essentially what they're saying. So what I'm telling you is this: after Medicare takes its cut, your real cost of living increase will drop down to about $32.68. And that means nearly 40% of your COLA, of that increase, of that raise, if you want to look at it as a raise, well, 40% of your COLA will disappear before you even see it. And another thing that I think we can't forget is that the Medicare deductible. Now, we know the Medicare deductible usually rises. It rises every year. And for 2026, that deductible, well, it's expected to climb from $257 to $288. And that means that your deductible is going to increase by 11%. So what does that mean? Beyond the obvious, what does all of this means? Well, it does mean continued frustration. It means widespread. And I say widespread because I can't think of a person of the 71 to maybe 72 million people who get Social Security are not disappointed. So there's continued frustration and widespread disappointment with these recent COLA increases. And retirees, all of us are saying that these adjustments don't keep pace with the actual cost of living, which just keeps rising. And it rises and it rises. And I want you to take a look at this clip that we put together.
What we see with middle and lower income consumers is actually a different story. It's that consumers under a lot of pressure. In our industry, traffic for lower income consumers is down double digits. And it's because people are either choosing to skip a meal. So we're seeing breakfast. People are actually skipping breakfast, or they're choosing to just eat at home.
The economy's weakening. Whether that is on the way to recession or just weakening, I don't know, and that just confirms what we already thought, kind of. The consumer's weakened, confidence weakened, corporate profit's still up, and there's a lot of different factors in the economy right now. It's hard to figure out what it all means.
Where are the areas that we are seeing upward price pressure? Unfortunately, food at home is one of them. So think your grocery items, also shelter. And of course, those are things that we need to have. Those are not the nice to have discretionary items. The other thing that stood out to me was energy was actually up. And the past few months where we have sometimes seen the consumer price index come in a little bit lighter has been because energy prices have been lower.
So people skipping breakfast, which is what the McDonald's CEO notices at the McDonald's franchises. Then you've got JP Diamond's, JP Diamonds. You got Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan saying the economy's weakening and we don't know what's going on. And that is what he said. Play it back. Play the video back at the end here. That's what he said. We don't know what's going on. And then, of course, you got the news clip, which the woman there said grocery and shelter costs are going up. And now energy prices are rising. So, yeah, the fact is, even with the annual cost of living adjustments, Social Security's purchasing power has declined over time. And retirees, well, they're having to make some very painful decisions. And I've got this little panel here that I've got for you. And it says here, a Senior Citizens League study found Social Security benefits have lost 20% of their purchasing power since 2010 because the cost of living formula doesn't reflect real senior expenses. And as I say this, I think to myself, I really do think to myself, are we supposed to, because we're over 50 years old and we're on Social Security, are we supposed to just say, well, this is okay? We worked all of our life. We worked hard all of our life. We were told that we would enjoy our retirement, that we would have the Social Security, the safety net to depend on, to fall back on. Are we supposed to be okay that buying power has been reduced, the purchasing power since 2010 by 20%? I mean, 20% is a huge number. It's a huge number.
What we see with middle and lower income consumers is actually a different story. It's that consumer.
Now, another thing here, a 2024 Motley Fool survey reported, this is number 2 on the list here, you can see it, that 62% of retirees cut back on non-essentials, while 42% even reduced spending on necessities. And again, I say this to you. Are we supposed to be okay with this? Are we supposed to be okay? Surveys from Gallup and the Employee Benefit Research Institute, this is number 3, both show about 6 in 10 retirees. 6 in 10 retirees rely heavily on Social Security for their income. And last, half of retirees surveyed, and this is, to me, this is actually very troubling, especially because of people that I know who are in the trades and people I know who work in factories, but it's retiring that half of retiree surveys said they'd consider going back to work just to make ends meet. Now, that's okay for for a lot of folks out there. Going back to work, if that's what you need to do, you want to do, and you're able to do it, that's fine. But what about the folks that have been in physically demanding jobs? And I mentioned people that I know in the trades, and that includes family members, people that are working in factories, people who all of their life worked in a physically demanding job, and they're not able to go back to work. They're not able to go back to work. So essentially what we're talking about here, what this means is don't count on Social Security to keep pace with inflation. Don't count on Social Security to provide an income, a livable income. And I'm not saying we should just depend on Social Security, and I haven't said that once, but I'm saying there are folks who do depend on it. But don't depend on Social Security. If you want breathing room, if you want real breathing room in retirement, you've got to find a way to take charge of your income. And at the beginning of this video, something that I did say was that if we look at where we're at with Social Security, we look at where we're at with COLA, we look at where we're at with the Medicare premium. So we take all these things and we say, okay, yeah, if this is what we have to depend on, we're in trouble. We're in trouble, no question, if that's what we have to depend on. But this is also something and a reason why I created this channel. And I also created another channel called Side Hustle Rules, because I just thought I could use my experience to show people how to increase their income. I was the publisher of a chain of business-to-business magazines. I owned a weekly newspaper. I launched major national trade show companies. I've owned digital media properties. My goal was just to start a publication, a channel like this, to show folks how they could earn money, how they didn't have to depend on Social Security. So when I see this BS, when I see this increase, which the politicians don't care about, nobody seems to care about except for us, when I see it, I say, we need to take charge of our financial future. I started my channels to give you ideas. They're free. You can go on, watch my videos, and you get free information. That's what you could do. Get free information, and you can go ahead and start maybe a side business, do something to increase your income, because that's really the goal here. Now, something else that I do want to remember before I forget is I want you to mark your calendar for October 15th. And that's when the Social Security Administration, they make their official COLA announcement. If we're lucky, it'll be more than 2.7 or 2.8. I'm crossing my fingers, but I'm not counting on it. We're hosting a COLA watch party. I'm hosting a COLA watch party with a bunch of people from my team. You can join us in person. If you're not local, just tune in to the live stream here on Over 50 TV on my channel, because we're going to talk about it. Now, I'm going to give you the news as it happens. So I think the increase will be announced at 8:30 in the morning. So we're going to talk about that, the increase. As soon as it comes out, we'll tell you. Also, I'm going to have a couple, I think right now I've got 2 people lined up. I probably will have more people lined up who are experts in Social Security, so they can answer some questions. They can give you some real-time analysis. Then also we'll have people in the community, whether you're online and you want to make a comment. I get comments all the time here. But you know what? You can just, I would just say, be part of a community of people who are like you, who are like me. We can all talk about what's going on, because that's really at the end of the day what we have, because we have only ourselves. And that's a cliche for a lot of folks out there, but it's really not my cliche, because I do think I started this channel to help other folks, and they're helping me as well. But listen, that's my message for today. I don't want to keep this too long. The bottom line is this: Social Security, the COLA will be gutted by Medicare Part B premium increases. We're going to be lucky to get, 40%. We're lucky if that happens. But you know what? That's how it is. And that's why we can't depend on Social Security. We can depend on ourselves. We've got the experience. We definitely have the knowledge and the skills. We just got to put it to use. And this is what I see and I believe. And I've talked to hundreds of people, whether it's, I've had Zoom calls with folks when I do my consulting. I have people email me. We've gone back and forth. We've got the experience. I think most of the time what holds us back is we don't believe in ourselves. And I see that quite often. But if you don't believe in yourself, lean on somebody else. Join with somebody else. You know, I mentioned I do have a consulting business. I'm willing to work with folks. I definitely discount people who are older. I discount my fee because I understand the need, and I'm more than willing to help. So that's all I got for you. Well, I want to pull up a comment that I thought was funny if I can get it here. And let me see if I can pull this up here. I don't know if I can or not. Yeah, carnivore Jerry in the middle of a forest. She says we don't need to eat around the clock either. Yeah, that's a good comment actually. Yeah, we don't need to eat around the clock. We just have to try to take care of ourselves and do the best we can. It is, as she says. I'm going to pull up this other quote because I think it's true. This is the best time of our lives, and it can be, it should be, and it will be if we work together. So that's all I got for you. Other than I will say thank you for watching. Thanks for any comments. I've got a lot of comments here to look at, but go ahead and subscribe to Over 50 TV. Subscribe to Side Hustle Rules if you are so inclined. Other than that, as I always say, have a great day, everybody. And one other thing, too, be sure to stop in if you can to our watch party. Have a great day, everybody.